Peace Almighty, knowledge, understanding. Thanks for tuning in. Damn, motherfucker. We're gonna get rolling here. I'm gonna have to go in here in a minute because I gotta get back and do some things. I wanted to let a couple people get on. I'm gonna give this like 2 more instances. Let a couple more people get in, and then we're gonna have us a little chit chat about the Kanye West show. It's good entertainment. So if oh man, traffic backed up. Okay, so let's go. The whole Kanye West thing, of course we know everything's a distraction, but it's deeper. It's deeper than that because this is a great opportunity to learn about metaphysics and occult science. And there's several pieces to this whole fiasco that you can kind of look at and you can see the metaphysics of it. You can see the intended agenda and you can pull out the unintended. Now, yesterday we kind of talked about the unintended agenda where we made a comparison between Kanye West, his name, and Venus Williams and what they represent. You know, Venus is the star in the West, also called by some sources Marika, as in America. And funny, you know, she's got Star as one of her middle name, one of her names, her third name, I think, Venus Ebony Star Williams. So now I want to just briefly talk about an interview I saw with TI on the Breakfast Club. Now, I want to say this. I talked about how the importance of Generation X. This generation is this unknown generation that's supposed to represent really the return of or the resurrection of Christ's energy, as in a spiritual sense, not in a dogmatic sense. And this generation is supposed to usher in the age of Aquarius. Now, the generation that comes after that, though, is supposed to be the generation that activates and magnifies the energy. And this is where I want to come in with TI, because some of you all who, you know, look at my stuff and deal with some of my information, some of y'all are Generation Y. Even some of y'all maybe Generation Z. The conversation that T.I. had on the Breakfast Club was a person who comes from Generation X, who has a job to carry out to make a certain amount of influence on generations Y and Z, the millennials and the generation that come after them. They call them Generation Z. I'm gonna tell you what I'm getting at. TI, when I was growing up, you used to have these revivals and stuff, or you might have the pastor's anniversary or whatever. Now, what you want to do is you want to get a hard hitter, a preacher to come into town who has a reputation of throwing down. And the main thing that you're really looking at is, can he close? You know, everybody be waiting on him to close. You know, it's kind of like you're waiting on Jordan in Game 7 with 10 seconds on the clock. You're waiting on Jordan to work his magic. You know, for people in church, especially, you know, your Baptist or your Church of God in Christ or Holiness, you know, those churches, you know, they want that preacher that can close. Now your Methodists and your, you know, other Episcopalian, you know, they more of your uppity black folk typically, you know, they just Father God, you know, that type of atmosphere, you know. But those Baptists and Pentecostals, you know, you got to be able to have some fire. So you want to get a pastor who can come in, who's got some fire and who can close, because he's going to draw more people, and that means a bigger collection plate. All right? And like when I was growing up, I'm from North Carolina. One of the preachers you want to have come in, back then was really doing his thing even before you really even heard about a TD Jakes. That was a dude from Houston named Ralph West. He's still in Houston, Ralph West. And sometimes they might fly him up to North Carolina, and you know, people would pack the house to hear Ralph West. Who really can pack the house is they have an excellent vocabulary, an excellent gift of gab, a certain charisma and a way to deliver things or a message that enthralls people, that draws them in. When I heard TI on the Breakfast Club, I heard the same type of tonage. See, TI press 1 if you can. Mic check. All right, appreciate that. Okay, now I want you to think critically, and I know some young folk probably gonna click on this video. This is a great opportunity to exercise critical thinking. T.I. said some things in that interview with the Breakfast Club that were real slick and subtle. He kept saying something about the collective, being the voice of the collective. Now, when he said that, and he said some other stuff, but that right there really stuck out like a sore thumb. Now, T.I. in the same video, interview talking about he's a, you know, he coined the term trap music. You know, he holds himself as the father of trap music. And you know, I got a lot of TI's music on my phone. You know, uh, he reminds me from the same Generation X. You got Killer Mike, who's from Atlanta. And you know, you see Killer able to live based on how much dope I sell. Killer Mike has a lot of that infused in his music, and it's a lot of, you know, we call it what they would call gangster rap. Okay. Now let me make myself clear on this. This is not me taking no pious stance of, oh, these bad lyrics, and look, because I am not no choir boy. And I actually like their music, you know. But we got to put things into perspective. And I want you to understand how things orchestrate things and make. And when we look at these people or characters, because that's what they are, they're characters, the music, the success of music is being able to convey the message that what you're saying is real. And this is mainly geared towards young folk listening. Let me tell you something, some real shit. I've done a lot of bad things too. I'm gonna tell you some real shit. Motherfuckers who are moving keys are not gonna get on no goddamn record and tell the world that they're keys, as in kilograms, as in 2.2 pounds of anything. Gonna get no damn CD and incriminate them. So basically, these guys are WWF characters. They ain't no more real than Hulk Hogan or damn Ricky the Dragon Steamboat or shit, Wahoo McDaniels. I go back on you. Y'all don't know nothing about that Wahoo. Let me tell you something, daddy. That's that Wahoo McDaniels. But see, most of the people who see these cats, they really think, you know. Now I ain't saying that they done, you know, what a lot of people have done some dirt, but it has been orchestrated and manufactured to create in your mind the idea that these guys are real. They're not. They're not. So then the same person who has built their image on their superstardom, if you want, whatever that is, on that image, now comes back and says, I'm the voice of the collective. Now hold the fuck up now. Hold up. Hold the fuck up, T.I. Now I like you when you just be T.I. I like you when you just kill a mic. But this is some bullshit. So, but that's not even the big point. That's just some common sense shit. You can take that however you want it. But here's the real clever and diabolical shit. T.I. kept talking like Kanye is my friend, you know, and he just so far out there and he just don't know how to say what he's trying to say, and all this stuff's orchestrated, of course. And I'm gonna tell you what one of the grand schemes is. But just follow me on this. Shit is a whole lot of twists and turns to it. You remember when Monique came out and going off on there and she was all butthurt because she ain't getting her money? Remember how some of so-called former friends like Cheryl Underwood looked like a midget bat. If you could imagine a bat that's a midget, that's Cheryl Underwood. So TV and talk shit about Monique, which Monique is nobody to be. There's no, if she went and did that shit, that Precious movie that made black folk like fucking trash. But that aside, Cheryl Underwood goes on TV and makes it out learned about her friend. I want you to understand the subliminal message there is that I think this bitch is crazy. And I'm worried about her. I'm worried she might cut herself or she might hurt somebody. So when TI gets on the Breakfast Club and he takes that saying, that's my friend, it's like, man, do you not understand? Like he's implying that something's not clicking in the boy's head. Okay? So what does that mean for us? See, it don't really matter about them. When you're at that level, you don't own yourself. Somebody owns. You got handlers. You got handlers. When you cross, talking about $100 million and so forth, you got handlers. So what it means for us is that it supports the fake news, conspiracy theory, anti-rhetoric. Meaning, if you're a person who thinks on the fringe and beyond and outside the box, you put a motherfucker like the Kanye West out here to create the residue that, he acting like Kanye, crazy. You see what I'm saying? And these guys are being puppeted to get out here and play these different roles. Now, another thing, and now we're going to get to the real metaphysics. Here's the real metaphysics. And I'm going to give you a little bit of numerology mixed into this. The number one is called it's the masculine number. It's the active number. The number two is called the anti. Like you got a Christ, antichrist. Number two is the anti or the antagonist. Or you could also say it's the response. Okay? Number three is called the affinity. Affinity. The affinity. So anytime you can take a 1 and put it on one side, and then it will naturally give birth to an affinity. Same thing that we learned with the Trinity. Whenever you have a masculine and you combine it with a feminine, you will create the third that will subdue the separateness that the other two appear to have, and will create the union, which is the 3, which is the affinity. By creating what would be the mundane understanding of what Kanye West said. And mind you, like I said yesterday, we're dealing with the half-truth. He gives you the half-truth. He tells you some truth mixed in with some bullshit. When he's wearing that hat, he's telling you truth under the hidden cloak of the whole Trump bull. Because MAGA is something powerful. Wearing the Confederate flag, he's giving you truth hidden under the mundane dirt. When he goes into all that about, if we could just all love, and that's just straight up some bullshit. That's damn Deepak Chopra shit, like Bobby Hemmett say. Okay, but he's still giving some jewels. But because he takes that stance, it's easy to have an opposing view which you come in with TI. And TI and the other people who come out. So and so reacts to Kanye West. The Crips say they're gonna, what fucking joke? Some goddamn Crips say that they're gonna, motherfucker, you got Joe Zimmerman, you got motherfuckers right in your damn neighborhood that kill niggas, and they talking about some are gonna roll on. This is how stupid the public is. To even entertain it and even think there's some validity to it, they're saying, telling you how stupid we know you are. But put aside, the point is the stance that he takes gives birth to the number 2. So this is numerology, this is metaphysics. Because the 1 acts, it has to create counter effect, which is the 2. In between the 1 going this way and the 2 going that way, now we create a vacuum effect. And the vacuum effect is the number 3. The reality that comes out of those 2 opposing points. Physics 101, also called alien dialectic. So this was all set up. Tension. See, when the 1 is opposed to 2, what comes out of those 2, the opposition, is tension. Okay? Now, tension creates a current or energy. Now, the objective is the tension that has been created out of these opposing forces is to now harness it and drive it in a certain direction to create a desired effect. Same thing that happens when a man and a woman get together and knock boots and she's pregnant. The tension that occurred between them created a reality, a new reality. Now, if you go to YouTube, first, second, third, fifth, you'll see a video of Kanye West at TMZ. I meant to put that up as a thumbnail because it struck me when you watch TMZ. It's very interesting. He has a confrontation with a van, and then there's a guy with dreadlocks who's always there. And then some woman comes on the screen and talks, and Kanye. But what's interesting is in the frame right there in the front of the camera, the only person standing is, what's the boy's name who runs? Ain't his name Levin? Harvey Levin? Harvey something. But he's a Khazar. Okay? It's not a Jew, Khazar. Payment. When you at the frame, see in videography and photography, there's a term called framing. Just like you get a picture from the store, right, the lawyer. The picture sits in a frame. So when you're taking a shot, you want to frame what the person's eyes will see who's looking at it. I'm trying to fill out this thing, drop off this. So in the frame, Harvey Levin is standing. The black guy who's always there with the dreads and Kanye are sitting. That's not by happenstance. That was by design. He's standing, they're sitting. And if you look at that picture frame, understand they tell you right what's going on. They tell you who's orchestrating in the whole fiasco. And the guy with the dreadlocks is very interesting because you always find in classical history, you find images of Europeans supposed to be nobility or something, and you'll see off to the side or on, usually they'll be flanked on the shoulder, right? See a Moor, calling the images a black Moor. Get J. Rogers' book Nature Knows No Color. Do a lot of those images, and he talks coat of arms of a lot of European uh, royalties, you know, and they would have that Moor on there. And it's interesting. This guy is always with Harvey. This particular one with the locks, and it's like he's the blackamoor who's there to give. He doesn't say, but he's there to give credence to everything that the Khazar. You got that book there? I don't know. Is that his son? And wouldn't that be some shit? But either is always there. But it's interesting that in the shot, like I say, all these other characters are seated and the Khazar is standing. And then see okay, hold on. Let me read over. Okay. His brother. Oh hell, y'all done thrown out too much. Now we got to investigate some of this. One person said it might be. Oh man. Okay, we're gonna have to that. But either way, um, you learn just in that image who's orchestrating. But what I was gonna say is that funny that, like I said, that with T.I. and Kanye, we see and the other the vacuum for attention. Hold on, I'm trying to write and talk. I'll be here an hour trying to fill out this damn money order. But this happened with TMZ. See, it only works if guys have a compelling argument. So they had the black guy who stood up to Kanye. His argument was very compelling. And some of the stuff Kanye, other than love shit, you know, some stuff made sense. But you gotta look how the Khazar quiet, and he kind of stood and he watched these two niggas do it out. They put it right at his face.